Hi everybody, it's Marie Fell from the Pilates Physio. I haven't done a Facebook Live in a long time, so I thought with it being Caesarean Section Awareness Month, I should jump on and do this post as a live instead of trying to tap it all out like I normally do and end up with the reams of writing. So I think a big game changer for me with Caesarean Section, I've had two. The first time round was elective. It was planned because my little boy would breech, and this is 6 years ago. And my second one was not planned. I was very much heading for a VBAC, very much wanted a natural delivery, very much didn't want a caesarean section, but unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbled in the end. But what I wanted to share with you is that I came across an amazing book by Millie Hill, The Positive Birth Story. And in that book, I read up a lot about natural birth because obviously I'd never had one. I didn't experience labour at all the first time round. I got to 39 weeks and I still had no signs or symptoms of labour coming on. And because my little boy was breech, I was booked in for a planned section, walked down to theatre, had the section, and that was it. And then the second time round with my little girl, I was a lot more aware of things. I knew a lot more information, and I read this book and I was really impressed, because it really took away the fear factor for me for giving birth, because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was coming. And I don't think anyone can really know because everyone's birth is different, everyone's pregnancy is different, everyone's body is different. So what I want to show you, so I make, when I was pregnant with my first little boy and with my second baby little girl, I make a scrapbook. And in the scrapbook, I tend to put like scan pictures and just like what I was getting up to and just things like that. So in this book, I recorded about how I prepared for labour. Now, obviously, I was heading for a natural birth at this point, so my birthing kit was like mental. It was really prepared. I had a birth board here that I stuck loads of positive affirmations and mantras on that my body was designed to do it and could do it. I had candles. I literally like went to town on positive mental attitude and belief. I hired a doula because I desperately wanted a VBAC, and I felt that the medical professions that I kept seeing in the hospital, the consultant team, were very medical and they weren't very supportive of my VBAC and wanted to give me lots of intervention that I didn't want. So my doula gave me a peanut ball to help me get baby in the right position, and she gave me an umbilical cord tie, which was really nice, and she also made me this amazing aromatherapy kit, which was here, which I used during pregnancy. Now, I did in my second pregnancy and get into the first stages of labour, but unfortunately just stuck in hospital, couldn't get it far enough along to get it going. But the things that I want to share with you is that I knew about my birth choices and my birth preferences. I was very well read up on what should and shouldn't, could and couldn't happen following a caesarean section and trying to have a normal birth. So I had plan A and I had plan B with my birth choices. So this I took from Millie Hill, from her book. She creates these amazing little pictures, and you can cut them out and you can stick them on to which ones you like in terms of your birth plan. So, like, bearing in mind, a lot of people say birth plan's not going to happen, there's no point making one. I think the thing to say there is that it's really important to have the education and the knowledge and the awareness about what your options are, and then that's really powerful that you can feel like you're still in control when you're giving birth, because there's a massive element of giving birth that often feels like it's way out of your control, and that's not sometimes nice to cope with at the time or after. So my plan B, which was my caesarean backup, and I wrote that because maybe I knew in my head that maybe I wasn't going to get there, but I had a caesarean, making a caesarean plan, the best possible caesarean. And I drew extra ones on there. So as you can see, this was my plan if I had a caesarean, and when it came to it and I was having one, I added lots of extra things on there. Okay, so the things that I wasn't aware of the first time round when I had a caesarean that I got the second time round is that I could ask for the medical professional staff to either talk me through what they were doing, or I could ask them to not tell me what they were doing and just get on with it. And I could also request which side they put my IV line in, because obviously when you're having the spinal, you've got to put the needle in your hand. And the first time round I had that, I had it in my hand, and I found that when I'd had my little boy, I couldn't move up and down the bed because the needle kept sticking into my hand. So the second time I insisted that it was in the left side because I'm right-handed. And also, actually, and this is quite good, when I had my needle put in for Sophie, for my little girl, they actually put it in here, which seemed a bit weird at the time, but it meant I could move freely around the bed afterwards with my hands, because obviously your tummy's quite sore, so you need your upper body to help you move about a bit better. So that was good. So you can request that, and I would imagine you can request where it's sighted as well. Okay. I also asked for the EMG dots to be put on my back so that when I'd had the baby, they could put them straight onto my chest and I could have skin to skin, which is this little symbol here. And I did ask if I could have the screen lowered so I could see baby being born. And I did ask for a gentle cesarean so that they let the baby work their way out of the womb rather than being pulled. But unfortunately, the hospital I was in didn't do that. They didn't do that as an option, but you can ask. You can ask. And more hospitals are getting good at offering gentle cesareans. Okay, so other things you can ask for is privacy while your catheter's inserted. You can ask for staff to be at the head end rather than at the bottom end so that the person doing the procedure does it and not everyone has to witness that. So again, a bit more privacy and dignity. This one was a biggie for me, that baby was born slowly and gently, not wrenched out of my tummy like I felt it was the first time, and then immediate skin to skin afterwards. So you get these electrodes on your chest for monitoring your heart and blood pressure and everything. You can ask for them to be on your back so that this is free, so that baby can come straight to you and you get that initial skin to skin, which is quite important for bonding. Okay. I also wrote on here, leave the goo if possible, because there's a lot of evidence and talk now about the microbiome, about when the baby passes down through the vaginal canal, they get covered a lot in mum's microbiome, which is bacteria. And if baby comes up through the abdomen, through the sunroof, they don't get that as they pass down through the birthing canal. And that's been shown to be linked to studies where babies have problems with diabetes and obesity in later life and immune system problems. So again, leaving the sticky stuff on the baby and not wiping it off is quite important to help their immune system and general bacteria, good bacteria. So, but please don't wipe or wash my baby. Again, just trying to keep them covered in their stuff. Optimal cord clamping. So with my first baby, I definitely didn't get this, and I asked for it, but I didn't get it. So leaving the cord to continue pulsing, there's 20% blood flow in the placenta. If you allow that to flow into the baby, they get 20% extra blood flow, blood volume that was theirs, that was just passing through the placenta and back. So leaving the cord until it stops pulsing means that they get a lot of their extra blood volume, and that's really good for the baby. And in the cesarean, there's no reason why they can't delay cord clamping unless there's a medical emergency, obviously, and you're having an emergency cesarean and baby's in distress. But if you're a bit like me and it's elective and you're walking into surgery, then this is an option that you can have, and that's better for baby and better for mum. And then dad to cut the cord, you can still request that dad cuts the cord even with a cesarean section, and we did get that this time. Calm and dimly lit room, cut out the chit chat, respect that you're giving birth. It's an important moment. Try and just make it a little bit more comfortable for you. Delayed weighing and measuring. Now I did get this time. So with my first baby, they whipped him off and put him on the scales and weighed him and then wrapped him up and gave him back to me. And with Sophie, she came out and she laid between my legs for ages while they let the cord continue pulsing. And then they picked her up and gave her skin to skin to me. And they didn't weigh her for at least an hour or two afterwards. And I got that sort of skin to skin contact, and that was absolutely bliss. That was just pure bliss, that first hour post theatre. And it's quite emotional really when you talk about it, because it's quite empowering to be able to have that sensation. And then also I'd put on the bottom, I wanted to keep my placenta, even though this was the reason I ended up with a cesarean at the end. My placenta failed, but I wanted to keep it because I wanted to encapsulate it. So I was really adamant that they didn't get rid of my placenta, and I wanted to see it actually. I was quite fascinated to see what it looked like. And then I put on the bottom, I plan to breastfeed. So again, if you've got a birthing choice, you could put that on the bottom as well. So that was my best possible cesarean birth preferences. And actually a lot of the things that I had on my vaginal birth delivery, I could actually transfer over into cesarean. So things on here were about delayed cord clamping, skin to skin, calm and dimly lit first hour, delayed weighing and measuring. And lots of things. There's lots of other things you can have a look at. So in the positive birth book, I love these little circles. They're visual. You just stick them on. You don't have to write out reams of stuff of what you like, and it's just a nice way of showing a good birth plan. So I hope that gives you some ideas about, if you're having a cesarean, what your birth choices can be, what your birth preferences can be. And it's really important that as women we discuss this and know that it's available and that we ask for it. So if you're having a cesarean section, if it's planned, if it's an emergency, know what you can ask for and have someone to advocate that if you're really not with it and you just sort of been in that position, been in labour for a while and you're tired. But yeah, I hope that helps. So cesarean sections, you can still get skin to skin with baby straight away. You can still get some wonderful things like delayed cord clamping and things like that. So do read up around the topic. Do read up, because it's really worth doing. Okay. So I'm going to head and get my lunch now because it's lunchtime over here in Luxembourg. But I hope everyone has a lovely day and speak to you again soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.